सर्वांना विठ्ठल विठ्ठल. आपण आपले सेशन स्टार्ट करत आहोत. सुरुवातीला एकदा प्रार्थना घेऊन आपण सुरू करूया. हे ईश्वरा सर्वांना चांगली बुद्धी दे, आरोग्य दे, सर्वांना सुखात आनंदात ऐश्वर्यात ठेव, सर्वांचं भलं कर, कल्याण कर, रक्षण कर, आणि तुझे गोड नाम मुखात थंड राहू दे. सद्गुरू आई, प्रल्हाद दादा आणि मिलन बहिणी यांच्या चरणी अत्यंत कृतज्ञतापूर्वक वंदन करून आपण आपला आजचा प्रोग्राम सुरू करत आहोत. प्रोग्राम सुरू करण्यापूर्वी तुम्हा सर्वांसोबत एकदा संवाद साधावासा वाटला म्हणून मी मध्ये येत आहे. तुम्हा सर्वांच्या प्रोत्साहनाने आणि तुमच्या सर्वांच्या सहकार्याने आम्ही हा कार्यक्रम करत आहोत. त्यामुळे सर्वप्रथम तुम्हा सर्वांची मनापासून खूप खूप कृतज्ञता. आज या कॉलवर उपस्थित सर्व नामधारक, सर्व युवा, सर्व ज्येष्ठ श्रेष्ठ व्यक्ती सर्वांची अत्यंत मनापासून कृतज्ञता व्यक्त करतो. आजचा हा सेशन हा म्हणजे वेबिनार मधून आम्हा युवांना काय मिळालं याची एक झलक आहे. आम्हा सर्व युवांना याचा फायदा होतच आहे. हा फायदा जास्तीत जास्त युवांपर्यंत जावा, जास्तीत जास्त युवांना वेबिनार बद्दल समजावं म्हणून आम्ही हा कार्यक्रम घेत आहोत. या कार्यक्रमामध्ये आधीच्या कार्यक्रमामध्ये आदरणीय दादांनी ज्याप्रमाणे आम्हाला सूचना केली होती त्याप्रमाणे ह्या प्रोग्रामचं स्वरूप आम्ही थोडंसं बदलत आहोत. या प्रोग्राम मध्ये तुम्हा सर्वांना स्क्रीनवरती प्रेझेंटेशन दिसणार आहे. आम्ही सर्व युवांनी एकत्रित प्रयत्नाने हे प्रेझेंटेशन बनवलं आहे. यामधील सर्व कंटेंटचा भाग आहे हा दादांचा आहे. दादांनी वेबिनार मध्ये जे आम्हाला शिकवलंय ते सर्वच आम्ही तुमच्या समोर प्रेझेंट करण्याचा प्रयत्न करत आहोत. हा संपूर्ण प्रोग्राम हा पूर्णपणे इंग्लिश मध्ये असणार आहे. त्यापूर्वी तुम्हा सर्वांशी संवाद साधावा म्हणून मी मध्येच इंटरप्ट करत आहे. तुम्हा सर्वांना एक फक्त नम्रतेची विनंती आहे. हा प्रोग्राम आत्ताच आपण सुरू करत आहोत, तर तुम्हाला ज्यांना अजून रिमाइंड करावंसं वाटतंय त्यांना एका मिनिटामध्ये तुम्ही पुन्हा व्हॉट्सअपला पाठीमागे रिमाइंड करा आणि जास्तीत जास्त युवांना जॉईन व्हायला सांगा. हा प्रोग्राम सर्वांना अत्यंत आनंद तर नक्कीच देईल, पण त्याचबरोबर दादांनी आपल्याला वेबिनार मध्ये ज्ञानाचा जो अनमोल खजिना दिलेला आहे त्या खजिन्याची तुम्हा सर्वांना एकदा नवीन ओळख होईल. सो सर्वांना पुन्हा एकदा विठ्ठल विठ्ठल. आपण आपला प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट करूया. ओव्हर टू यू श्रुतिका.
Thank you, Tai. A very good evening to one and all present on this call today. On behalf of our team, I, Shrutika Wadkar, welcome you all on this international call cum presentation on a topic that holds an important place in every individual's life. All of us have definitely faced situations in our life when we have ruined relationships, we have hurt people and regretted that later because it hurted us even more. And all of this happened because our communication somewhere went wrong. And today, oh, things are so different. Now that we are trying to get used to the new normal, that is, every conversation is online. Here, we face a completely new set of challenges. But maybe this time we have something to blame. That is, we might say, let's see, apparently these miscommunications and misunderstandings are because we aren't meeting each other in person. But even if these clashes have increased today, no doubt that they existed even earlier, and that's why we are all going to make an effort to look for some solutions today that will help us communicate effectively. What we are going to do is, we shall be sharing with you all some insights and lessons that we have gained on communication skills as the viewers of webinar series on work-life management by life management expert Mr. Prahlad Pai, who is a retired general manager from a renowned multinational company. He is a B.Tech from IIT Powai, Mumbai. He has done his Masters in Administrative Management from Sir Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management, Mumbai. He has done his Total Quality Management from Japan. Who is also the lead auditor of ISO 9001 Quality Management System and lead auditor of ISO 14001 Environmental Management System. And he is the son of great social reformer and realized soul Sadguru Shri Vaman Rao Pai, who was the founder of Jeevan Vidya philosophy. Now you all might say, what is Jeevan Vidya philosophy? It is an excellent combination of psychology, parapsychology, and metaphysics. In simple terms, this philosophy is scientific, pragmatic, and useful to everyone in every walks of their life. And based on this very same philosophy, Mr. Prahlad Pai has designed a webinar series of 30 episodes covering a number of topics from goal setting, communication skills, relationship management, stress management, and many more, to impart the knowledge of Jeevan Vidya philosophy to the youth and helping them to become the assets for their country. All these webinars are available on Jeevan Vidya Mission's YouTube channel in Marathi. Prahlad sir calls wisdom to be the greatest of all. He says no matter how learned be a person, without wisdom, academics will be of no use. Also, Sadhguru gives utmost importance to wisdom. And today, we are here to share one dimension of this wisdom that will help us to create new bonds, maintain them, by totally transforming the way we look at communication and the way we ourselves communicate. We shall be taking you all through various aspects, components, importance of communication, knowing the barriers to our communication, and ways to deal with the same. We shall try our best to convey the knowledge and tricks taught to us by Prahlad Dada, and it will definitely help you a lot in life, just in the way it has helped the other viewers. So, for presenting, today we have with us Ms. Pradnya Rambade from Pune, Dr. Sneha Shendge joining in from UK, Ms. Prarthana Nagre, Dr. Nikita Banavse, Dr. Saili Dorge, and Master Mithil Nagre from Pune as well. So requesting you all to please stick till the end. And now, let us start with knowing the importance of effective communication from Pradnya.
Thank you so much, Shrutika, and hello everyone. Now, before we headlong into our presentation, I would like to give you a context that by communication here, we mean interpersonal communication. Being able to communicate effectively is perhaps the most important of all life skills. It is what enables us to pass information to other people and to understand what is said to us. And communication is a continuous process that happens both externally as well as internally. But today, we shall be focusing on the external aspect of communication. The ability to communicate effectively is a vital skill and one must not overlook it. Also, it's never too late to work on your communication skill. And by doing so, you may well find that you improve your quality of life, and today we shall be learning the same. Prahlad Dada cautions us about the objective that we should hold on for the communication. He says our objective behind every communication should be to connect people. And if we do this, we are halfway there to communicate effectively. Over the course of your lifetime, we are likely to have an interaction with the wide range of people, organizations, and institutions, including shops, businesses, government offices, and schools. Good communication skill can ease these interactions and ensures that you are able to get your point across calmly and clearly, and also take on board the process. It is almost clinch that personal relationships need communication. Failure to talk has been blamed for the breakdown of many number of partnerships and relationships. But the ability to listen is also an important element. Communication is also vital in wider family relationships, whether you want to discuss something or ensure that your teenage children are well and happy. So why communication skill is a master key to success? Because to go Hello? Yeah, next slide. Now next, coming to the process approach. What should be the process approach for communication? Communication is not the same as broadcasting or simply sending out the information. It is a two-way process. In other words, it involves both the sending and receiving of information. It therefore requires both speaking and listening. but also, and perhaps more crucially, developing a shared understanding of the information being transmitted and received. Now let's see what Prahlad Dada teaches us towards approach of communication. If you are the sender of information, means if you are a speaker, this means communicating it clearly to start with, whether in writing or face to face. Then asking questions to check your listeners' understanding. You must also then listen to their replies and if necessary, clarify further. If you are the recipient, means if you are a receiver, it means listening carefully to the information, then checking that you have understood by reflecting back or asking questions to ensure that you both have a same understanding of the situation. Thus, we see feedback mechanism plays a very important role and also assures the speaker that whatever you have understood is as expected by the speaker. It is therefore an active process. There is nothing passive about communication in either direction. Thus, now since we have understood the importance of communication and the process approach, it becomes necessary to understand the most important component of this process, that is listening. What exactly is listening? What's the importance of listening? How is it different than hearing? Let's listen about this from Dr. Sneha. Over to you, Dr. Sneha.
Thank you very much, Pradnya. Very well explained. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Sneha. I hope you all are very well and safe. Today, we all are here to present and discuss with you all on topic communication skill. And my topic for today's session is listening, hearing. Let us just listen the topic today rather than hearing. I think I have got the most important topic and a very valuable topic to discuss on. And also, it's very relevant with my profession as well. Have you ever questioned yourself why we have 2 ears and why it's open all the time? Because God encouraged us to listen twice as much as we speak. And on top of this, our Dada, Mr. Prahlad Vaman Pai, encouraged us to listen 100 times, ponder 1000 times, and speak once. Many studies about prenatal development, research census of baby in the womb, says most important study was declared as the sense of balance and hearing. And we shouldn't be surprised that hearing is the most developed sense of babies in the womb. Let us talk about hearing now. Our Dada mentioned in webinar 4, it is very important to listen rather than just hearing. So what exactly is hearing? Hearing is nothing but simply the act of perceiving sound by ears, which empowers us and help us to lead a everyday life without limitations. It enables us to socialize, work, and communicate. It also has ability to stay connected to the outside world, and it keeps us safe by warning us of potential danger. Have you ever imagined the intensity or the power of hearing or listening? I would like to give a very nice example. So for example, if you're sitting with one of your friends and you're sharing your everyday lifestyle or your day-to-day stress to your friend, and your friend is just repeating that whatever you're saying, you will not even feel like telling that thing to your friend. And this way, you won't be able to maintain your relationship. In this world, these days, it is very, very important to maintain a relationship. And one of the very important communication skill to maintain a relationship is nothing but listening. One of the very nice examples Dada has given us about the Chinese whispering, a game of 10 people. A person tells a very nice message to a first person. That first person will keep on passing on that message to second, third, and so on till 10th person. And the result, the 10th person came with a message which was given by a first person was absolutely opposite and somehow wrong. So you can just figure it out how much it is important to listen attentively and collectively. There's one book called Just Listen by Mark Gluston. On the cover page of that book, it has written, "Discover the secret to getting through to absolutely anyone." I would repeat that for you. Discover the secret to getting through to absolutely anyone. Think about it, guys. Let's talk about listening. In webinar 4, our Dada has described us listening very nicely. Dada has said, If you rearrange the listen word, the silent is silent in listening. If you want to hear something attentively, you have to be silent, externally and internally. What exactly it means? Externally is obviously the surrounding noise. But what exactly internally means? Internally means is avoid background noise while listening, because it can mislead to wrong hearing and can cause miscommunication, lot of conflicts, relationship can be spoiled and can create a lot of misunderstandings. How it should be. Listening should be always from three things, from ear, eyes and heart. And it always should be active and effective. So let's just talk about these three things. Ear is something we have to hear things to understand the text message. Eyes, we have to make sure that we absorb the body language all the time, we absorb the facial expressions, and to have eye-to-eye contact with the person we are talking to. Heart, we need to make sure that we understand the emotion of the person, we empathize the person, and to know the intentions of the person. Listening uses different senses, like the sense of hearing, seeing or sense of touch. However, hearing is nothing but a sense that helps you receive sound waves. Listening has a strong ability to identify a person as a whole. Quality of listening, whether he is lying, how truthful he or she is, what are his or her intentions. Listening is one of the very, very important communication skills which can empower your personality. When we communicate with each other, Dada says, first person who talks, who gives input, second person who gives conclusion, and in the between of them, there is interpretation, which is nothing but listening. While listening, someone always participate and try to respond, like nodding their heads, smiling. This way, you sense a non-verbal message that you in the moment and fully involved in the conversation. Let's talk about the take-home messages. To give thoughtful response, it's only possible when you are actively and effectively listening that person. Hearing is simply the act of perceiving sound by the ear. If you are not hearing impaired, hearing simply happens. Listening, however, is something you consciously choose to do. Listening requires concentration so that your brain processes meaning from words and sentences. In communication skill, the most important skill is listening and provoke people to talk. The person who has ability to listen automatically generates the ability to make people talk. At the end, I would say, to maintain interpersonal relationship with people, listening is the foremost important skill. And I hope everyone today has listened me very carefully. Thank you very much, everyone. I would like to request Pratna to take over and explain the next topic, which is content and intent. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Dr. Sneha. Hello, everyone. Now that you know the difference between listening and hearing, can miscommunication still happen despite you being a good listener? Let's find out. So we need good interpersonal relation in almost every field and also in our day-to-day life. In this, the important aspect is communication skills. As you know, communication is not when one person is talking and other person is just listening. There's also understanding that person's intent. But what is intent? So surprisingly, we all communicate when we are walking, sitting, standing, and not even talking. So in webinar 4, Prahlad Dada has nicely elucidated that whenever one speaks, it's broadly bifurcated into content and intent respectively. So what it is basically, content is text, message or words. In short, it is sentences and paragraphs. Whereas intent is emotions, motive and spirit. Spirit is a non-physical part of a person which is a seat of emotions. Basically, you have to listen to the soul while you are talking. Let me tell you the importance of intent by an example. If you have an interview with the boss or HR, he'll check your body language, other values, and integrity. He won't just rely on your CV or your content.
He'll check if you are just impressing them or flattering them to get to a higher position or get a job, but if you are actually inheriting them. Moving on, content is the same every time under any situation. Comparatively, intent varies as it is not the same all the time. One thing can have different meanings. For example, if our mom scolds us, she's really rebuked by our behavior. Though words used are harsh, she doesn't really mean them. Another example could be from the movie पीके. Let me recall you the scene. जब हम सोचते हैं तब अच्छा बड़ा हो जाता है. जैसे अच्छा, अगर आप गुस्सा हो जाते हैं तो आप बोलते हैं अच्छा हमको सिखा रही है क्या. अगर आपको कोई पूछे आप कैसे हो तो हम बोलते हैं अच्छा अच्छा सब ठीक सब ठीक. अगर आपका एक्सीडेंट हो जाए तो हम बोलेंगे अच्छा ये हुआ आपके साथ. So in conclusion, intent can differ but content remains the same. So coming back, content is delivered by only words as it's the verbal part of the speech. Comparatively, intent is the non-verbal part where you listen to the person. But how? So for that, you have to keep a check on the body language and use the three divine organs. They are eyes, ears and heart. Eyes to check the body language and maintain a very good eye contact. Just eyes can make you understand the person because they don't hide anything and you can't practically close your eyes. Sometimes we don't take much information from a person because we do not scrutinize everything about them. But eyes will definitely tell you that. So there are a lot of TED Talks and specifically whom I liked about Anne Washburn, who fantastically explains that if you're feeling weak, just few changes will not only give a different message to the other person, but also to your subconscious, so you will automatically feel confident. There are several books such as How to Win Friends and Influence People, several YouTube videos by Brightside, People Keys on how to read somebody like a book. So Jeevan Vidya gives a different perspective to this. So there are a lot of signs in certain body languages to understand somebody. So if somebody is playing with their fingers, their heart is maybe beating faster, they're sweating, nostrils are expanding, their throat is dried out, they're either tensed or anxious or angry. They could be using really subtle or calm words, but you can see their eyes and ears are red, they're shivering, so maybe they're angry. So even smile, you can easily understand if it's a fake smile or a real smile. So basically, our eyes can detect any sudden changes of behavior. When we feel weak, we have a closed body language. Arms are folded, eyes are down. So whereas when we feel strong, you can see you open yourself, you chin up, you smile. So even if somebody is lying, you can easily understand that their eyes are flickering, pupils are dilated, they're unable to maintain a good eye contact. So all this explains why eyes are so important in understanding somebody's intent. So next is yours. So you have to listen to the content and intent also. Prahlad Dada says, listen to the intent also. So for that, you have to listen to the tone, the speech and the accent. Lot of misunderstandings are just due to the tone. A simple sentence can sound like a question if the tone isn't right. So everybody just look at the screen for a minute. So it's just a simple sentence. I didn't say you were stupid. Now I will be emphasizing each word as I say the sentence again and again. Now let's see what happens. I didn't say you were stupid. I didn't say you were stupid. I didn't say you were stupid. So now you know, emphasizing on one word can change the whole meaning of the sentence. Last but not the least, heart is to understand emotions and sentiments. So in conclusion, content is the verbal part. In parallel to that, intent is the non-verbal part, where you listen to the content in different ways. So in the process explained to you earlier, that is input, take information, process, understand and analyze it, and output, give a feedback, positive or negative, to the person. So there are a lot of disturbances in communication that you'll see on the next slide. So in content, there is a thoughtful reaction. So now you know the process of input, process and output. In that, you have to understand and listen to that person and not just react immediately. So for that, you need to have patience, listen completely and avoid misunderstandings, and also no prejudice, or else you'll never understand the intent well. On contrary, while listening to the intent, you have to be tender by heart. Show empathy and sympathy both. Empathy to get emotionally attached. Get into his or her shoe and relate yourself to it. Sympathy because you have to feel sad or give some mercy. When you have combination of both, you will understand the intent better. So now you know why 15% importance is to the content and 85 is to the intent. So there is a loophole in technology that we use a lot nowadays. So sometimes you do not really understand the real purpose of a person if you are just chatting. So marriages held on matrimonial at times do not last long because you never really understand the real purpose of the person. So what can you do if you never understand the purpose of a person? So one, you can keep on asking questions, have patience and try to understand the purpose of that person. When you get all the answers, you can join the dots and here is your intent. So what is that should be added in your content? Prahlad Dada says, Shabdanla dhar noko adhar pahije. Meaning, your words should have support and not harshness. But support of what? So support of trust, affection, compassion and respect. These are the support system of your content. And what attitude you should have while you express your intent? So now you have to move from I to we and get acquainted to the win-all strategy. And this is just beyond win-win. This strategy is the sustainable model and it's in tune with the law of nature. Prahlad Dada says, my happiness lies in others. So if all are happy, then I am also happy. And if all are losing, then I am also losing. So real selfishness lies in helping others. And this is a very different perspective and this will ensure you get success without stress. So let me tell you with an example. So if you have a project, your company is happy and the dealer is happy, is fine. But if your employees are taken for granted or if they are not happy, then it was not a successful project. Your project should help the nature, country, society, subordinates, employees, basically everybody. Be useful and you will be successful. So for that, you have to argue less and agree more. Come to a decision where all are happy and get a mutual solution. This will make sure you connect people, have good rapport, and this will ensure you get success without stress. And this is going to be your real success. And second attitude while expressing your intent is that you should have good purpose and motive. So people will understand your content also. So now that you know how to understand somebody's intent along with their content, now let's see how to use this in your day-to-day life. For that, I would like to call Dr. Nikita. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prarthana. As we have seen previously, content, intent, and also listening plays an important role in our day-to-day communication. Now, what we are going to see is one more skill that you need to master to communicate successfully. Before moving on to the topic, let's discuss about the two things that are a soda can and a cool water bottle. If you take a soda can and you shake it, after you open the seal, what will happen? No doubt, it will foam up. On the other hand, if you take a sealed water bottle, shake it vigorously, what will be the result? No matter how vigorously you shake, it is not at all going to foam out. That's what happens in our life. People say something to you or are envious of you, they make you react. And what you do? You also foam out. But when you respond to such a situation, you reply calmly. Now you all might be getting some hint about the next topic. Yes, reacting and responding. React and respond. You all might be thinking they are synonymous, right? Actually, react and respond may look exactly alike, but they feel different. There's a world of difference. Why is it important to respond and not react? Let's see. Do you all know what's the biggest communication problem? The problem is we don't listen to understand, we listen to reply. Let's talk about the reaction first. What is a reaction? It is an instant and immature reaction to the person in front of you without listening him completely. Generally, it's driven by beliefs and biases. It doesn't take into consideration the long-term effects of what we say or what we do. On the some level, you can say it as a defense mechanism. It might turn out okay later, but you often regret for it.
On the other hand, a response is a thoughtful and mature response. As we have seen earlier, listening is understanding others. When you actually understand the person in front of you, you respond. And responding takes into consideration the well-being of not only you, but also the people around you.
Let's take a very common example. One of your family member or your friend forgets an important date, your birthday or wedding anniversary. What would be your reaction? As soon as you come to know that they have forgotten about the date, you either give them a cold shoulder or speak with them with a very hurtful tone and words also. On the other hand, when you respond to such a situation, you can definitely stop the situation from getting worse. You need to do only one thing. Just collect your thoughts, come to understand why is this so. They might be thinking to surprise you, right? Or else, if you are feeling hurt, think. How can you express your feeling calmly during a time when both can speak? So, your response means a lot here. You have to choose whether you want to be a soda can or a calm and cool water bottle. As time gives you choices, and choices if made skillfully, they lead to happiness. After all, what's the aim of the communication? The ultimate aim is to be a happy, right? So, what's the moral? The moral is you can respond with kindness and wisdom rather than habit and reactivity. Because it requires nothing to react. Any fool can react, but only a wise person responds.
As responding plays an important role here, what is it that is stopping us from responding? Some disturbances, which you can overcome with the help of practice over a period of time. Have you all ever thought, why are some people so great and extraordinary, especially in getting their ideas successfully across everyone? Because they work hard, manage time, and a lot of things. This is true up to some limit. But what they do is, when they communicate with others, when they think, they merely rearrange their thoughts about communicating with people effectively. The thing is, if you deal with people calmly and with love and affection, you'll never get into problems. And for this, we first need to know the disturbances so that we can work on them. What are these disturbances that may spoil our communication and further our relations?
The disturbances are three. They are first insistence, second prejudice, and third unnecessary interpretation. Let's move on to the first, that is insistence. What does it actually mean? Insistence and is actually when you demand something and actually refuse to accept the opposition from the person in front of you. You all might think, I never insisted, but we aren't aware about our attitude. Which attitude? The attitude of, let it be as I say. But when we are actually not aware that as you think in this way, that's what the person also thinks who is in front of you. As you want respect, appreciation, the person in front of you also wants the same. If you start insisting, you will definitely end up with conflicts and a lot of misunderstandings. Let's take an example. Say an individual who is looking for a job. if he is approaching everyone with an attitude of insistence and that he would only work for a particular amount of salary, or he would only do the specific type of work, or he is not at all ready to work as per company's requirement and also not ready to adjust his salary for some thousands. What do you think? Will he be able to get a good job? Never, right? Here, what's most important is how good you are at adjusting, that too, the adjustments based on wisdom. If your actions are based on wisdom, it will be fruitful to you at every stage of your life rather than insisting. We should always keep one thing in mind. We can't live alone, and everyone plays an important role in our everyday life. Thus, maintaining a good relation is always a good option. Again, let's move on to the second disturbance, that is prejudice. What is prejudice? A prejudice is a baseless and often negative preconception of attitude towards the people. There's a saying, prejudice can't see the things that are. I repeat, prejudice can't see the things that are because it's looking for the things that actually are not. This attitude is because we always have preconceptions in our mind. When people hold this attitude towards others, they tend to point every individual who holds a particular belief with a very broad brush and also fail to really look at each person as a unique individual. One example that everyone can relate to. We all know one individual who we think always argues, or maybe there's one individual with whom we have had an argument in the past. So, whenever we come across this particular individual, all that flashes in our mind is an argument. Why so? Wasn't there any other quality in that individual worth keeping a note of?
But no, it's a human tendency to remember what we did not like about that person, and then we label them as argumentative individuals. And next time when we come across them, we look at that person through the filter of argument, and accordingly we decide how and what to talk. And hence every time we interact with them, we might end with an argument.
So, how to overcome this prejudice? Just by imagining yourself in the same situation, we are able to think about how to gain a greater understanding and how to respond. The next disturbance that spoils the communication is unnecessary interpretation. You might feel, why interpretation? As interpretation is an explanation and understanding, so it's good, right? But what is here is an unnecessary interpretation. Unnecessary interpretations are when an individual just makes certain judgments or conclusions. Without knowing reality or understanding the other individual, he interprets as per his own understanding. Here, he don't apply his logical reasoning nor he take efforts to put himself into their shoes. Basically, what we do is we form a conclusion as per our own understanding, or we form a judgment by taking into consideration what we see rather than what we understand. As Prahlad Dada says, what you focus, it expands. You should always keep it in mind. Thus, it's very simple to apply these small hacks in your day-to-day life. Rather than putting negative filters and focusing on them so that they expand and spoil your relation, just start looking for the good in every individual. Start adjusting. Start responding to whatever the situation you are facing. Focus on it. Let it expand and see, you will enjoy every conversation of your life, which will definitely help you stay happy every day. Now that you all know about reacting, responding, and the disturbances that may spoil your relation, let's see how to overcome these disturbances from Dr. Saili.
Thank you, Nikita. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Saili. First of all, thank you all of my co-presenters, because of which now we have understood what is actually communication, its various aspects, and also what are the disturbances or obstacles of a good communication, and how do we overcome it. Before beginning the topic, so can any one of you tell me, what do you render from these images which we see? What do you think these images want to say to us? Can anybody?
Well, there are two girls gossiping.
Yes, right. So as we can see, there are two girls gossiping. There is a person who is being criticized, and also a person is thinking about his past taunting. So what are these? So these are the negative aspects of or rather the obstacles of a good communication. Prahlad Dada, in his webinar series, has elaborated the three qualities which hinders a good communication and leads to a mistrust in a person. That is gossiping, taunting, and criticism. Now there's a quick question. How do we develop trust in a communication, or how do we gain faith in a person? Usually, if he or she has a good relationship with you, always has a good communication with you in front of you, and most importantly, behind your back, that is when you tend to believe in that person. That is when you gain faith in that person. But I guess many of you will agree with this, that do we really find these kind of people nowadays? No, right? These kind of people are getting really rare, because the most favorite pastime in any population, or rather in any generation nowadays, is gossiping. As we see anywhere around us, people just love to gossip. People indulge themselves in gossiping for hours and hours. They say they like to be updated about each and everyone's life. And strangely, they also like to pass on this heard information of theirs to everyone. And let me tell you, without authorizing, they create rumors about it. But all of this is so immoral, right? Then how do people do it so easily? Prahlad Dada, while talking in his webinar number 6, has beautifully enlightened us about gossiping and how to deal with it. He says gossiping is nothing but completely futile talks in which one indulges himself. It arises due to partial knowledge about a particular thing, and it can ultimately end up forming a rumor. Dada advises us here to be vigilant, and he says do not participate in gossiping, as we all of us are very well versed with the proverb which says even walls have ears. So similarly, every small rumor or gossip forms like a chain reaction, and it spreads swiftly. Dada, while explaining here, gives us an example of an office or a workplace environment, which is, I guess, the most prone area for beginning of a gossip. So, as we all know, gossiping about seniors, about higher authorities is very common in the office environment. Here, Dada advises us to stay away from the office politics and never to participate in gossiping. Sometimes there is some confidential information or some secret which are conducted in the meetings, and because of this gossiping, that secret information might get revealed. And by any chance, if you are caught in that gossiping, it will cause loss of faith in you. So what is the solution? How do we avoid this? Or how do we face this situation? Let us see what Jeevan Vidya implies us in this situation. Dada suggests us to avoid gossiping in the first place. And even if you are in any unavoidable situation, or there is a thing that you just cannot avoid the gossiping circle, then you can always practice what is known as the positive gossiping. So this positive gossiping is a very unique technique which Prahlad Dada has introduced it to us, in which appreciating and talking good about someone, even when they are not even around you, that is talking good about them behind their back, is positive gossiping. Now here lies the biggest difficulty: how to gossip about the good things, because gossiping is always about those crisp and spicy things which everybody is eager to hear, right? And also now you will say that what will happen if I gossip about that person because he is not there anyways. क्या ही फर्क पड़ता है, उसको थोड़ी पता चलेगा. But no, Dada says every gossip reaches that person via the vibrations, even if that person is not present there physically. That is why you should talk always good about everyone and talk good about your enemy. Surprisingly, yes, even about your enemy. Because what will happen, first of all, the person will not expect you to talk good about him. And also it can lead to a change of opinion about you. So again, it will be a win-win situation. You should recognize and acknowledge the skills or talents of others and share it among everyone when you're doing the positive gossiping. When the negative gossiping without any efforts reaches to that particular person. So similarly, the positive gossiping will also definitely reach that person. And this positive gossiping can be easily implemented in both your professional and your personal life. If you practice the positive gossiping about your family, your boss, or any acquaintances, this will lead to a healthy bonding and thus a good relationship with them. Hence, this positive gossiping is a very effective weapon in the relationship management and building trust in a relation, which Prahlad Dada has given us. So with this, we come to know how to convert that negative gossiping situation into a positive gossiping situation. Now moving on to our next factor in building trust, that is how to react to criticism. What do we do when we are criticized? So let us know more about it from Mithil.
Thank you, Dr. Smiley. So now we will be talking about the second most important aspect in building trust and faith in the communication. Rather, the obstacle in communication, criticism. Up till now, we have understood conversations are a source of building relations or breaking them, and the secret of being successful is to develop or build healthy relationships with the people, and for that we need to learn communication skills. When we first hear the word criticism, most often these questions arise in our minds. What is exactly criticism? Why is it done so often? Is being a critic good or bad? And all these questions also do used to come into my mind before I heard Prahlad Dada speaking on his webinars in his webinar number 6. Criticism felt very casual, and being able to critique someone always outshined me from the group. Most often conversations were made as solely intended to criticize someone. Many people, especially those who hold a great position or preponderance, tend to criticize people the most often. Also, there is a very normal paradigm that people don't criticize themselves for anything, no matter what goes wrong with them. Criticism is futile because it puts a person on the defensive mode and usually ends up justifying themselves or the situation. Criticism is dangerous because it wounds a person's precious pride, may hurt his sense of importance, and also arises resentment. Here, I would like to quote the experiment of a famous psychologist, B.F. Skinner, who proved that if an animal rewarded for a good deed will learn much more rapidly rather than an animal punished for his bad deed. Say that it is scientifically proved that appreciation is more effective than criticism. Jeevan Vidya says criticism just decides you away from success, and even if you achieve it, you will be surrounded by trouble and stress. Also, criticism puts you in the blame game in which nobody takes account of their mistake and simply starts pointing and blaming each other. Prahlad Dada says criticizing can lead to distraction from your goals. Whereas industrialist Charles Schwab also mentioned, I will never speak ill of anybody. If at all I have to speak, I'll only speak good of everyone. He also stated, I am yet to see a man who did not do better or put forth greater efforts in the spirit of approval rather than the spirit of criticism. Let's consider this example. A boss who criticizes the employee for a mere mistake, but if you ask him to do the same work with the same conditions, he might not always be able to do it. So criticizing is very easy, but creating work by yourself is a tough task. Therefore, Prahlad Dada says, if you repeatedly criticize a person, you'll never get the best outcome of his performance. Instead, you may even weaken your relationships with that person. Therefore, To achieve the best results, avoid criticism. Even at your workplace, acknowledge positive things about the workplace and start the process of becoming an asset to the company rather than being the liability. So by now, you must be convinced that criticism is futile and spoils relationships. So Jeevan Vidya's principles guide us to avoid criticism. Hence, we must try to appreciate in public and convey the mistake in private. Conveying mistakes doesn't mean that downsizing a person, but rather orienting him about the mistake is important. Instead of condemning people, let's try to understand them. Let's try to figure out why they do what they do. That's more profitable and intriguing than criticism, and it breeds sympathy, tolerance, and kindness. As Dr. Johnson rightly said, God himself, sir, does not propose to judge a man until the end of his days. So why should you and I? Well, in a nutshell, to achieve the best results, to achieve healthy relationships, to get the best out of a person, don't criticize, don't condemn, don't complain. Well, we have seen this when someone is criticizing you or pointing out your mistake. What if someone taunts you your mistake? How do you deal with it? Well, let's say this by Dr. Saili. Over to you.
Thank you, Mithil. So moving on to the next important thing, that is taunting. We often see people enjoying taunting, rather some always like to project their thoughts via taunting. And taunting, as we all know, is done to make fun of a person or goad a person to responding. It usually provokes the person, especially in an aggressive manner, and this can again lead to a spoiling of a relationship. Now the question is, how to face this taunting? How to not lose your calm even after hearing those stern comments or stern statements? Prahlad Dada, while answering this question, explains that first we should learn the difference between react and response. As we have seen previously, Dr. Nikita has beautifully explained it to us. React is the spot response, which is done without thinking, and response is the thoughtful response. So it is always our choice whether we react or respond to the taunting. There are some people who have a habitual behavior of taunting, and they do it for mere entertainment. So if we encounter one such person, then without being presumptuous and without being prejudiced, we should give a ear to that taunting. Identify what the person wants to imply. If a person really has an intention behind the taunting, then you should happily accept the taunting. Yes, you heard me right. Happily accept the taunting. If the person really has something to say in his taunts, then identify it. Focus on your shortcomings and then make the necessary alterations in your behavior. And all of this will in turn benefit you. So again, taunting will benefit you. But if there is no pure motive behind the taunting and it is just done for entertainment, then Dada says, do not lose your calm. Do not let the taunting affect you, and don't perceive it negatively. Here, while explaining this, he gives us a simple example of a 500 rupee note. So imagine if you are given a 500 rupee note and you trample it, you stamp on it or crumple it many a times. What will happen? The note will definitely have some creases on it, but its value will be persistent. Similarly, no taunting should degrade your value. Hence, just simply ignore the taunting. Prahlad Dada says, you decide your own value by the way you respond to it. Even if people taunt, learn from it. Create an opportunity even from this negative taunting situation, and in turn express your gratitude towards that person. So okay, now it was fine up till here that we learn from the taunting, forgive the person, but now gratitude, you will be questioned, right? Why so? Because it is because of that person you are able to focus on your shortcomings and hence make an improvement. So thank the person who taunts you. Express your gratitude towards that person and this is how you will be able to create an opportunity from this situation. So I guess this is a very captivating approach which Prahlad Dada has taught us to deal with taunting and also gossiping. So all of this will surely enhance and make our communication effective, and most importantly help us in building trust in a relationship. With this, now we know the three important aspects which will help in building trust and gaining faith in a person, and how do we tackle it, right? But now tell me, what do we do when we land up in a conflict-like situation or in an argument? How to bring about the negotiation or how to create the agreement over there? Let us learn more about this from our next topic. Over to you, Mithil.
So now this is Jeevan with the solution to the problems or obstacles of communication. But this is applied when there is a sort of passive criticism or taunting. Now we still have a doubt in our mind when we have an active obstacle to communication. As in how to deal with the situation when you know that you may lead to conflict or a fight. So relax, Jeevan Vidya got you covered in this also. Dada shares conflict management in simple terms. Avoid argument, create agreement. The statement itself is so positive, which provides us with a fantastic solution to our most common obstacle of communication. But all of this sounds great while hearing. But how do you implement this is the biggest question. Dada, before going to the actual explanation, advises us that before handling any conflict and having a conversation, we always choose whether you want to achieve something good from the conversation or turn into a conflict. If your motive of the conversation is to achieve good, then automatically you shed off all the prejudices about the person you are about to have the conversation. Now moving on to the intricate of the technology. Dada has mentioned certain steps for the same, but first we'll see this a small case scenario. The argument most often takes place between you and the supplier or you and the customer. But remember what Dada has taught us? We should always have an intent to achieve something good from the conversation. And to achieve that, we have to build trust and faith in the conversation. Just by holding this thought, we'll start the process of turning argument into agreement. It is that simple. Now when you sit for the discussion, we follow the yes-yes technique. Well, let me elaborate this for you. Whenever you are negotiating over something, there are always some terms where you both agree to be correct, and some terms which might create a conflict. So initially, we start with the terms which we both agree on. So in the beginning, if you start with discussing terms where you both agree on, you start creating faith in his mind, and which is eventually followed by a yes, yes answer, which creates a positive environment for the conversation. This reduces your chance of argument, and when you finally arrive at the non-agreeing terms, you have an advantage of faith which you have developed in the conversation, and resolve it with the help of a solution that is beneficial for both of you. When you all state that you are here for a solution, you are creating an atmosphere of the win-all attitude which you are carrying. Remember what Prarthana talked about, win-win and win-all? It states that we both are going to be equally beneficial from this deal, and no losses will be incurred from this is my guarantee. Just by making deal which is beneficial for either me or you will not be enough, but all our stakeholders have to be profited. Should be our attitude while making an agreement and avoiding argument. When you specify these things in the conversation you're holding, you end up giving him a positive note from the discussion. This will reduce down your conflicts. This increases the adjustments and thus can lead us to a positive gateway. Avoiding is the best thing you can do because you cannot win an argument. After all, if you lose it, you lose it. And if you win it, you lose it. As it is rightly said, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. With all of this, I can come to a conclusion that avoid arguments, create agreements, make adjustments. Avoid it as you will avoid rattlesnakes and earthquakes. Now we saw what is agreement, what is argument. After this, I am feeling of quoting something. It is a quote of William James. The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. Uh, Deep, right? Let's find out why he said like this. So we'll understand what is it by Dr. Saini. Over to you.
Yes, Mithil. So as you rightly quoted, there is a craving for appreciation. With this, we come to our last but another important topic of the communication, that is appreciation. Do you know the biggest secret of dealing with people? What is it by which you can always connect to people or get your work done very easily and without lining up in an argument? Have you ever stopped and thought about it? The answer is appreciation. There is only one way under the high heaven to get anybody do anything. It is by giving that person importance, by appreciating him. It is this desire of or feeling of importance that is the distinguishing factor between mankind and animals. By this, we are clear that appreciation is the key to deal with people. But what happens is, many a times, people use this technique for their own personal benefits and motives, and this is what leads to the fake appreciation, that is flattery. Of course, flattery seldom works with some discerning people, but does not always. Over here, Jeevan Vidya expresses caution and advises us to stay away from flattery and always appreciate sincerely. For appreciating sincerely, first of all, we need to know the difference between flattery and appreciation. It is very simple. Appreciation is always sincere. Flattery is always insincere. Appreciation comes from the heart out, but flattery only comes from the teeth out. And appreciation is unselfish, but flattery can be selfish. Therefore, appreciating sincerely is a good option always. Here I remember a quote which says, don't be afraid of your enemies who attack you. Be afraid of the friends who flatter you. Prahlad Dada emphasizes us on appreciating sincerely because he says the more you appreciate people, the more you connect yourself with them. And at the end, the aim of our communication is to connect people, is to make stronger relationships. Prahlad Dada quotes Mother Teresa. She says, there is more hunger for love and appreciation than for bread. And what does it take to appreciate? It actually takes nothing. It does not even cost you a single penny. Hence, there is no harm in appreciation. There are like these n number of benefits of appreciation. Appreciation enables people to motivate to work with you. And this is also a quality which will help you to become a good leader. When a leader appreciates his delegates, it helps him in both boosting the morale and also thereby will increase the productivity of that person. So again, this is like a win-win situation where the leader can also be benefited from this situation. Also, Prahlad Dada not only says that you must do sincere appreciation or appreciation is important, but he explains us how to do it. He says, always go for appreciating the peculiarities, appreciating the small things, because anybody can do the general appreciation, but the peculiarities hold a lot of importance. Because when you appreciate the small things, that is when you will receive the big things. Hunt for the good things in people and appreciate even behind their back, as we saw in the positive gossiping. So appreciate the good things about people even behind their back, and automatically all of this will be helpful in connecting to people. And at the end, our sole motive of communication, of building relationships and connecting to people will be achieved. By this, we have understood the art of sincere appreciation. So now let us all practice all of these techniques and all of the secrets which we have seen in this presentation and build a healthy communication with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saili. Thank you so much, everyone. We are very grateful to Prahlad Dada, who has designed these webinars for us, and also for today's presenters who gave their best to explain every point in the stipulated time. And also a special thanks to the Kothurud branch of Jeevan Vidya Mission, who encouraged us to do this under the leadership taken by Nagre Kaka, Sanjay Pawar Kaka, along with Ms. Shweta Patil, Tushar Sutar, the technical team and other members of the team who made this possible. And we are most grateful to our patient audience. It is because of you who gave a positive response to us, and we got an opportunity to present and share whatever we have learned. A lot of points discussed today in the presentation and in the webinar series by Prahlad Dada are very less thought about. These principles are not even discussed in high-profile corporate courses. Today we have understood the importance of having effective communication because, as Prahlad Dada says, it's communication that can help you to either make or break bonds. We got to know the objective that we need to hold for communication, and that is to connect everyone. The importance of intent and ways to deal with the number of barriers that stop us from effectively communicating. Also topics like gossiping, taunting, criticism, which hardly anyone thinks is a part of communication, also has so much to do with it. So let us all promise ourselves that we shall always listen, we shall always respond, avoid taunting, criticizing and gossiping, and replace it with positive gossiping. Implementing all of this will help us to stand as an exception in the society. It will help you to become a unique leader, a unique parent. You'll be a gem to your company, an asset to the society. Rules of office politics won't apply for you. You'll easily slip out of it, thus making our life a peaceful and happier one. What's special here is you are not asked to completely stop doing something. Rather, you just have to replace it with something good, just like in the case of positive gossiping. Prahlad Dada says a spirit of approval, adjustment, encouragement is all that you need for developing trust and faith in communication. And thus, we shall all implement the same. All that we have tried to cover today in the presentation is just a small grain in the infinite unique knowledge of Jeevan Vidya. And if you think that the points covered today were too many or would like to go back to them for deeper explanation, we have Prahlad Dada's webinar series with us. So no matter what profession you are into, please go back to them on YouTube and check them out. We also have a Skype group wherein every Sunday we watch one webinar together and have discussions on the same. So if anyone is interested, do join it. The link to this Skype group is going to be shared in the chat box. And now for the next 5 minutes, we would be glad to receive honest feedbacks from the audience. So the floor is open and anyone can unmute and give their feedback. Thank you.
Hi, good evening all. My name is Mugdha Malve and I would like to give feedback. I live in London, United Kingdom, and I work within education. In a nutshell, the Academy's mission I work for is to provide first-class education to children free of cost, irrespective of their social background. We also build brand new primary and secondary schools and support underperforming schools in achieving outstanding results. I had an opportunity to attend this valuable session on communications, and I must say it has been truly enjoyable and fantastically practical. It uses a good mix of presentation, video demonstration, and real-life examples, which I'm certain each one of us can relate to at some point in our lives. In my opinion, the content is very powerful, relevant, and promotes positive and constructive communication in an effective way. The presentation has been delivered by a group of people from different walks of life and who are successful in their respective professions and who collectively emphasize on the importance of communication. The knowledge and the style of the presenters is very effective and simple. Overall, it has been insightful and interesting, and I have personally enjoyed learning it. I feel it is simply narrated and focuses on solving issues through very good communication. So I thank you very much to all involved in organizing and delivering such an impactful presentation. Wishing you all the very best, guys.
Thank you so much, Mugdha ma'am. If anyone else is willing to give a feedback, the floor is open.
Hello everyone, this is Rajiv Khade. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yeah, this is Rajiv Khade, and I have gone through the entire session right from the starting. And I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart about the efforts taken by each and every one of you. It was a collective effort and a very synchronization of time, and the contents of the session were very well laid down. And each point of time you correlated this with our real life scenarios. So this is a lot of takeaways from this session, especially for the young people and also for the people working in corporates. You have illustrated very well, nicely drawn out session. And from the overall session, I can understand and feel the efforts gone down into preparation of this particular session. Really appreciate everybody's effort. Thank you so much and keep going. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you so much.
My name is Rushikesh. I am studying in 9th. I found this session very effective and simple. And you all people explained it very well. And I am also interested in other sessions of Jeevan Vidya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rishikesh.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, good evening. I am Mr. Jayan Gongre from Pune, and I am very much thankful for entire team as well as go-through team who has conducted this today's session. And this session was very effective and good. All the entire youngsters have communicated very well, and presentation of our Jeevan Vidya mission is also very good. I am sincerely, from my own wholeheartedly, I am thankful to the entire team, Satish Nagre as well as Sanjay Pawar also, and our young team also, Yogita and all the presenters who have communicated the well effective communication presentation as well as PPT. It is a very good. I am very much thankful for you.
Thank you so much, sir.
So hi, good evening. Navnath Wagmari here. Okay. So the way we have communicated today's session is excellent, and we have touched all the communication aspects in terms of the. Hello, am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. You can continue.
Yeah. Okay. So there was some disturbance. Sorry for that. Okay, so we have touched upon all the aspects of the communication, parallel communication also, one-to-one communication, mass communications, as well as the concept of communication, which we none of the guy has touched. Okay, so we as a Jeevan Vidya mission touch all the aspects, and seeing that the topic which are adding the values to deliver the best out of the any person. Let it be personal life, let it be professional life, yes, no matter, but yes, these are the basics and fundamental values should have in any communication. Thank you all of you by putting your efforts, presentation, and whoever is involved. Thank you all of you. Victor.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, we are very blessed because we all have webinar series with us. All that we have done today is just try to put it in English so that it helps a lot of our non-Maharashtrian friends to benefit from the knowledge, from the tricks that Dada has taught us. The link for the Skype group has been shared in the chat box. So please take a note of it and do join this group and also attend the discussions on every Sunday.
Shrutika.
Yes, Dada.
Dada is here. I have heard your full presentation. It was fantastic, excellent, nice, I can't appreciate more than these words. I think you have correctly put everything in place, and I think it will be very much useful to the all the young people, because as I discussed in this seminar or in webinar, that connecting is most important, and for that connecting we have to experience that this all these techniques what I have said, all the things you have to use it, and then only you will enjoy that. So the things whatever we have explained here, they are very excellent in listening, but when you use it actually, then you will really enjoy that. So I hope that every person who has heard this seminar or heard this presentation, they will use every point of this. Every point is important, and even if you try and experience at least one point, you will enjoy and you will get connected with the people. And I hope our youth will utilize this in family life, in their corporate life, in social life, everywhere they will use these techniques, and they will be successful, and they will be really, they will not have any politics anywhere. They will be appreciated. They will be accepted by everybody in the your social circle. So it is really fantastic presentation. All the presenters have talked very well, very fluent English, and I'm really happy because somebody is doing so much study on this, and somebody is doing taking so much effort to go to the non-Maharashtrian people and making this Jeevan Vidya available for everybody. Thank you very much. I am very much happy, and I heard whole presentation. Every presenter has talked very well, and I appreciate them. I don't remember everybody's name, but whatever I know, that Dr. Saili, Dr. Nikita, Mithil Nagre, and I don't know everybody, but everybody has spoken very well, and it was a very fluent and a presentation. That PPT presentation was also nice. So everything, whatever you have done is fantastic, and I appreciate the whole team. I appreciate Satish Nagre, Sanjay Pawar for taking the lead, and I think this is the way only we can go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dada. Thank you so much. We are really very, very glad to receive a feedback from you. And all of this is just a result of your blessings, of the blessings of webinar series, which have been helping us a lot. And we all wish that it helps many other youth of our country. Thank you so much, Dada.
Tata.
Also, the details for international English conference call have been shared in the chat box, which is on every Saturday. Indian Standard Time is 7:30 a.m., wherein Dada himself speaks on the various topics that are covered. So anyone who's interested can please join that too. Thank you. May God bless you all.
प्रार्थना घ्या.
Yes, Kaka. हे ईश्वरा सर्वांना चांगली बुद्धी दे, आरोग्य दे, सर्वांना सुखात आनंदात ऐश्वर्यात ठेव, सर्वांचं भलं कर, कल्याण कर, रक्षण कर, आणि तुझे गोड नाम मुखात अखंड राहू दे. सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Vittal.
Thank you.